everybody, welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 Trading. This week we are discussing March 22nd to the 26th. March is almost in the books, and to be honest with you, it's been a bit of a choppy ride the last week and a half or so. Looking at the US dollar, we had a nice surge up into here to start off the early part of March for a week or so, and then so far we've just been, it's slightly declined, and obviously we've just been chopping sideways. Last Friday we finally had a punch above all of those highs, and then we had actually a gap to start open, a gap to open the week, to start the week off. So we're slowly starting to, I'll zoom in here, you can see here we had the gap from Friday's close, which was at 91.95. Or thereabouts, and then price opened up at 92.09. So we had a nice little gap there. It's starting to close off now, and I'd be interested to see if we can maintain this upward trajectory to see if we can possibly get above this high this week. Now, we've got a lot of news on tap, so you definitely want to be aware of this. So we've got Fed Chair Powell speaking early tomorrow morning. So at the time of this video, obviously it's Sunday night, as always. And he speaks tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. New York time. Wednesday, other than that, there's really not much else to speak of on Monday. And then we've got him testifying on Tuesday at 10 a.m. So watch for that. We could see a little bit of volatility in there. And then going into Wednesday, we've got a whole bunch of high-impact news events for the euro and for GBP. So watch, though. And then, again, we have Fed Chair Powell testifying again, same time, Wednesday. So we're probably going to see a lot of movement on euro and US dollar on those days, so keep that in mind, and make sure that if you do have some positions in advance of those news drivers, that you want to make sure that you're well prepared for that. Going into Thursday, we've got Canadian Governor, Bank of Canada Governor Macklem speaking. And then we've got Lagarde speaking for the euro, and then we've got the Bank of England governor speaking for the pound, and then we've got the EU Economic Summit, and then we've got final GDP numbers. So we're going to have a pretty heavy day on Thursday, and then Friday we're going to round off the week with the Euro Summit, which basically is a continuation of the EU Economic Summit. And so we're going to probably see a little bit more movement in the markets with that. So it's going to be a very eventful week. Make sure you have this open at all times throughout the week so you know what news drivers are coming when they're coming, so you don't see some massive volatility on the screen and wonder, what it's doing. I believe we're going to see price probably eclipse this high this week. Again, had a nice driver out of the gate on Friday. I was hoping we would have stayed above those highs there and closed above them. Nonetheless, though, we had a nice gap up to start the week. So all I'm looking for this week is a gap fill. We're almost there now, back down to the 91.65 level. Looking for this to jump down into that close from Friday and then rebound and move the opposite direction. So again, you can see the gap that was created here on the week. My first target would be up here. My next target is up into here. So if we start diving lower, I'd say then we're probably going to remain in this consolidation. You can see this consolidation that I've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. We finally started to break out of it here, only to go right back into it. So again, I'd like to see continuation to the upside, but if we start to lose this area in here, so if we start going lower than about 91.75, 91.70, then it could just want to take us right back into this range. The only thing that I like on this movement here is that we did do a little bit of a stop run underneath these lows, and price immediately rallied to the upside. So I think that might be a bit of a tip-off that we could see higher prices. So if we can get above this high here this week, then I'd be looking probably up into the 92.50s and higher to close the week off. And maybe if we can get above possibly this high on the week. Could be a little ambitious, but whatever this high is here from November the 11th, November 11th, November 12th in there, that would probably be the target on the week if we can get a nice stretch to the upside. That's what I'm hoping after we've been consolidating for so long, and we'll start to see US dollar stretch its legs a little bit. Euro USD, same similar trajectory to the downside. So we had price gap open. We took out Friday's low and have since been climbing back up. I'd look to see if we can hold this level off in here. Basically, I don't want to see price come much above the open or the close for Friday. You can see in here. Might see price come up a little bit higher to the close of Thursday at 119, 15, 119.20. We're pretty close to that right now. Price is about 20 or so pips away from that. So I'd like to see if it doesn't have any willingness to continue higher, and then we start to roll off. If price starts to go back up higher again, I think you can target these highs up in here. If we start rolling above this level in here, but I think for the most part I think we're seeing the release to the downside here, which was sort of the original trajectory from this move into here, and hopefully we're going to see price down. I'd like to have a target of about 11800 on the weekly range for Euro USD. I think that's a pretty easy target and very, very conservative, and we could probably get even lower than that. We could probably get a lot lower than that. Maybe even underneath these lows here if some of these news of drivers really start kicking into high gear. Again, we've got a lot of European economic news summits. We've got ECB President Lagarde speaking. We've got U.S. news drivers, so that could all culminate to Euro USD starting to drive lower. So if we see that, I would target these lows here and this low if you stretch it all the way out into here, and maybe these lows here if we really start wanting to fall off. Okay, and again, if price starts to run back above Friday's high, then I think we could just probably continue in this range, and we might see price maybe stretch up to the to this level in here. But we'll see what happens. I think the bears are starting to step in here. But again, watch this high just in case if I am wrong. We are in consolidation right now, and price could literally go anywhere. GBP USD, same thing idea. Now we've got a lot of activity on this chart here, so let me just explain this just a little bit. Obviously, we've got all of these equal highs up here, very similar to Euro USD. Nothing changed in here. See these equal highs up here? Those are the same equal highs that exist on GBP USD. No change there. We have not, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tries to get up in there, wanted to run above those. I think they're going to leave those for a little bit and probably won't come above there. Now, I've got my eye right here on this low here and this low here, where I think we could jam back down into, and that comes down into about 137.60. So I had taken this off of the radar after price came in here and really rejected higher. I was hoping we were going to see price really surge higher, and then we just ended up falling right back into the range. So listen, guys, I wouldn't blame you if you had a little bit of trouble in the past couple of weeks. I did as well, too, in this consolidation. It's not straightforward, cut, clear, and dry. It's it's a little bit of guesswork. It's shorter range, shorter targets. So, if you do anything this week here, if we don't see price wanting to stretch its legs down into these regions in here, then just make sure you're just taking smaller ranges for your targets, 20 pips, 30 pips, and be done with it. You can do it multiple times a day, certainly, but I think holding out for the big, long range days is probably something you don't want to get into at the moment until we obviously get out of this consolidation. So watch for that. Very similar, though, I'm looking for price on GBP USD to slam back up into the close for Friday. Might go a little bit higher. We might get into the low for Thursday, or maybe the body low here for last Wednesday. So watch those areas, certainly. But I think ultimately we could see price diving down into the 137.60. If, for whatever reason, they decide to continue to run and they start to get above the open for last Friday, then I think we could see them try to run these highs out here. But I personally believe we've seen them really gap lower on the week, and they'll probably leave these highs intact until they run out the lows underneath these two underneath this swing low under here. Okay, so watch for that. You can see GBP really making a case here going into London Open for Monday for a closing of that gap that opened up the week. So what I'd like to see, again, very similar, is just price comes shooting up into here and then hopefully starting to see it sell off. You start to see it go up into here, then again, like I say, price is looking to do something else. So just be careful. Maybe leave it a little bit, let Monday develop out before you get in, and then maybe if price looks to continue bullish, you can get above here. But I think for this week, I think so far, from what I see, the opening of price this week, it looks fairly bearish, and we're probably just going to fill the gap and roll over. But again, be very, very careful this week, guys. Be diligent. and be, if you're going to trade, make sure you're watching your trades very closely. Aussie seems to be setting up the same way as well. No difference here. I'd like to see a gap close on the weekly open. We're coming into that here very quickly. You can see here. I'd like to see price roll straight over. Might get a little bit of fluctuation above these highs here, maybe above that high here, but I really don't want to see them going above the high for Friday. I'd like to see them continue to drive lower, and these equal lows here, and I forgot to put a price tag on it. I'd like to see those equal lows about 7600 get run out if we can see them dip below. And really, you can see it sitting up here as well too. We've got low, 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 all equal lows in there. I think they're going to shoot it up and then jam it lower into there. And we'll see if they have any legs to get below here. And from there, do we keep falling off underneath here? That's what I'm going to be watching, and sort of the million-dollar question. Or do we just have a slight run down where they scoop up the sell stops below this previous swing low and then reject and shoot higher? Looking to see if that happens as well too. Definitely lots of options here. Be very, very careful, guys. US CAD, we did gap up a little bit on US CAD as well. You can see that there. Gap is pretty much closed now, and price does look like it's falling off a little bit. So look to US CAD, because if US CAD starts to hesitate in here and really start to consolidate while US dollar is continuing to fill this gap in, then you could have kind of and starting to kind of go in now. But if you fail to see US CAD really start to dive below these lows here, then you could see that catalyst, and you could see potentially this thing swing higher. My initial target on the week is right above here, and again, these were the highs that I was hoping they would have taken out. Kind of led me to believe that they were going to run it back up again for another run higher, and a couple of hundred pips on the menu there, so could be some very, very nice setups for US CAD. Again, what changes that? If we start to lose these lows here from last Friday's and Thursday's trading, then it's a little bit less likely to happen. But we'll see what this week brings. Again, lots of volatility, lots of news drivers, so be real careful this week, folks. Crude oil had dove last week, as I had mentioned. I wanted to actually see it come below this low here and hopefully rebalance in this consolidation area and then go higher. Price really surged down quite a bit lower, and we actually swung below 2 additional lows that I wasn't anticipating them going that deep. Nonetheless, we saw a pretty big rejection, and price is just going straight sideways here. So watch this level here. If price continues through this area right into here, I'll put a price tag on that, right about the middle of that consolidation, about 60.25. If we go lower than that, then we could be making another run, and they could potentially want to get underneath this low under here. You see these two lows under here? That could be the target if we lose that 60.25 level and they really start driving price lower. So watch that. But what I'm hoping we're going to see is price consolidating in here after it ran the lows, and we're going to get a nice pop higher, potentially driving above these 3 lower highs right there. That would be what I'd like to see. But some major resistance up into here, so watch out for that, okay? But I think we're going to probably see some higher prices on crude oil, so basically somewhere in here, if we can see a bit of a pullback, and then hopefully something like that. So we'll see, but again, watch these levels under here, because if they start losing this low here, then that's going to be the next target to the downside, okay? And that's about it. There's not a whole lot on gold or on silver at the moment. They're just consolidating the two. Not a whole lot happening. Gold is slightly running higher here, but I'm not super excited about anything yet. So we're going to hold off on any analysis on gold or silver until the US dollar decides whether, yep, we're going higher, or nope, we're going lower. Okay? Hopefully this week is going to give us that. We'll break out of this consolidation, and away we go. So that's going to be it for the weekly review. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, please smash that like button, hit subscribe. If you haven't already, share this out to your friends. I would really appreciate that. And we'll see you guys again for another installment of the weekly market review. Hopefully the markets are good to you this week. And for all of my members, I will see you guys back in the chat room as always. New York Open Monday morning. We'll catch you guys then. Thanks for watching.